Right now, the auto industry is facing a serious problem. People are holding off on buying new cars, which is leading to a deflationary spiral. This means that prices are dropping, but instead of encouraging more purchases, it's making potential buyers wait even longer, hoping for further price drops. This cycle is bad news for automakers, especially here in Detroit, headquarters of the big three, who are already grappling with supply chain issues and high production costs. But the question is, what's causing this hesitation? Economic uncertainty, rising interest rates, and tapped out consumers that don't see the need in buying new cars these days, or used cars. This is just another sign of an economy that's rolling over. All right, we are live. Welcome for the Tuesday edition of the Morning Check-In. As always, excited to connect. Looking forward to find out what's going on in your world. And based upon just, stories that catch my attention, hearing about a deflationary spiral being led by the auto industry amongst other industries, there's definitely more indications of what's really happening in the economy and how things are really rolling over. And it's becoming harder and harder to hide the truth. So we're going to talk about that as well as a couple other stories. But as always, want to welcome any first-time viewers to the community. Let me know where you're watching from. We'll definitely love to give you a shout out. Let me know if everything is coming through clear cut and straightforward on your side. And I will also want to make sure everything is operational on my end here. Don't want to make sure I'm experiencing any technical issues. So let me know if the audio is coming in good so you guys we can make this a beneficial live stream here. Let me check and make sure everything is flowing smoothly on my side here. So far, so good. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Let me know what topics, ideas, suggestions you guys want to touch on. We can do that. And as always, going to go through a couple of stories that caught my attention, leading off with the auto industry, just because here in Detroit, I think that's one of the primary indicators at the overall state of our economy as well as our country, because wherever the manufacturing go, in reference to the auto industry, there goes our country. So we'll get into some good news and as well as some market activity, things of that nature that also caught my attention. And want to make sure I encourage and introduce the RTD Silver Team to everybody for those who have an interest in getting their weight up via joining the community and basically automating the process of adding to your stack monthly with no hesitation. So good opportunity for those who want to join us. Want to be a good time and fun time. And let me see here. Let me make sure things are going smooth. I don't see any comments as of now. Can you guys hear me? Let me know. Throw me a thumbs up in the chat. Okay, so I do see some chats. Okay, so it seems like it's kind of delayed on my end here. But I appreciate you. Might keep up the good work. Appreciate you, my friend. Denton says, unemployment coming to a job near you. I just left Detroit last month. Moved to the Bible Belt. Yeah, getting up out of the D, man. Yeah, and so it's different vibes in different parts of the city, man. Like this past weekend, downtown Detroit is booming right now with activity. Depending on what sector you're in, some people's jobs are, I guess, more secure than others, and therefore people are still spending. So you depending on where you go, you get a different vibe. Is my whole point, and I'm sure that's what everywhere around the country. But as a whole, all the bleeding sectors that are major employers in cities, especially in the manufacturing hub of Detroit, those positions there, I'm imagining, are not doing as good. So we'll talk about that, but keep it moving. Bougie Prepper says, Grand Rising, Mike and chat. How you doing? Appreciate you guys, man. Let me know where you guys are watching from, if you got any first-time viewers. And I want to definitely make sure we get you guys included. And let's keep it moving, man. Let's move right along. Won't be before you guys long. Just want to plug in, connect in this Tuesday morning, see what's going on in your neck of the woods, and see what you're keeping your eyes on. And as always, for those who are plugged in, whether on YouTube or on Rumble, make sure you hit that check notification so you're notified, or click the bell so that when we go live or when I upload videos, you guys stay informed. And also for those who want to be a blessing to the channel via monetary support, feel free to contribute. You have the options right here. Links in the description and the different methods and mediums that I support or accept to help run operations here. So I appreciate all the love and everything else in between, everybody. Okay, so let's keep it moving. I'm going to get into the good news, dive into some headlines, and then we'll keep things going and see where it takes us this morning. All right, let's get into it. So this comes from my daily devotional. And I like to start my day off with the good news. And also, for those who are interested, I put together, I'll bring this up on the chat here, but I put it on the community tab, Just something that came across my mind that I put together in article form in reference to the kingdom of God, and clearly distinguishing between the blessing and the curse that is operational in the earth right now. And it all happens to do with obedience or being disobedient. And so if you guys are interested, check the community tab for that one, or just go to rethinkadollar.com blog. It'll be there. But definitely some good information to charge your spirits this morning. That's the whole point in these daily devotionals. But I'll jump right in. It says here, uncomfortable answers. To keep me from becoming proud, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger from Satan to torment me. This is from 2 Corinthians 12:7, the New Living Translation. And then it goes on to say, the Father always responds to your petitions. However, his answers don't always come in the manner you expect or prefer. It says the Apostle Paul understood this. The Lord didn't remove the thorn as Paul asked, yet through his time in prayer, Paul received a new understanding of God's grace and a more profound dependence on his strength. It says, likewise, there are times God gets your attention by being silent, answering no, or telling you to wait. During your seasons, you are wise to conduct a spiritual self-examination. Are you requesting something for the wrong reasons or that's outside of his will? Have you disobeyed him in any way? Friend, when God answers your prayers in a manner that's uncomfortable, it's because he has something far better for you that he doesn't want you to miss. So if he doesn't respond in the way you expect, like Paul, allow him to redirect your focus to the needful areas of your life, such as building your faith and character. Continue to listen and expect whatever he reveals to bless your soul. And then a closing prayer is, Lord, help me hear you clearly and accept your answer to me with gratefulness. Amen. All right. That is the good news for this morning. Man. Getting in his will so you can experience the fullness of the blessing is what I got from all that, everything I gathered today, this morning. So let's keep it moving. But on a last little note here, let me just share. I want to remind you guys, as I mentioned, if you go to the rethinkingthedollar.com blog, I'll show you guys on the screen real quick here for those who want a little extra spiritual charging. So I put this blog up this morning. And so once again, rethinkingthedollar.com/blog. You can read this. It's, one of the things that just get you to thinking and the importance of shifting your perspective, because we get caught up in all these natural affairs here. It's easy for believers to fall into like curse or mindset that's contrary to God's word for those who are walking in obedience and walking according to their calling, because there's blessings along with that of him definitely providing and taking care of his own. So, okay, just something on the side there. Let's get into it, man. As always, appreciate you for blessing me with your time and presence. Before I move forward, I want to make sure I do my typical announcements to make sure that everybody who is coming here, who may or may not be familiar with what RTD is all about, I want to make sure I continue to educate and provide options for people to plug into things. And as always, I want to start off with the RTD quiz. So for those who may not have taken the quiz, as you can see here, RTD quiz, dollar IQ quiz, 10 simple questions make a world of difference. Go to rethinkingthedollar.com/quiz. Links in the description. As of right now, those 10 questions have led people to further investigate and find out what they needed to. And so I have the monetary steps of Savviness down below. And if you're interested, just 10 questions will make a world of difference in exposing the knowledge gap we all have. And I'll start off with until we start educating ourselves, because you won't get this type of information from the mainstream media. So click the link in the description if you guys are interested in doing that. And then next, I want to offer those a chance to plug in with my partners over at Colonial's Metals Group. And so for those who have interest and want to take physical possession of their retirement form in gold or silver, as well as other assets, this is an opportunity for you to reach out to the experts to get all your questions answered, to find out if a self-directed IRA is something that's suitable for you and something that is worth your time. And so if you fill out this form here, they'll reach out to you. And the goal is to ask questions, get everything you need answered so that you have all the information you need in making what will be and can be the biggest decision of your life when it comes to your financial future, given all the things that we talk about on a regular basis, how things are changing. And so you might want to take a more proactive approach rather than the passive, I'll let some algorithm, I'll let some, person who receives a commission off of market performance manage my portfolio. Once again, options for those who are interested. Simply just scroll down below, check all the information you need, everything you need here to get an idea as to what Colonial Metals Group is about. Give them a call. Number is 888-2521-2448. And just, ask to speak to Paul, who's the owner or one of the workers there, and they'll definitely get you hooked up. So just something there. And then also, what I'm looking to do, as I mentioned, and I'm putting out there, I'm looking to collaborate, partner with up to 1,000 households is my goal in what I call the RTD Silver Team. And so ultimately, it's a way of automating your silver stack, just something that you can do passively, not even worry about it, just have it come automatically per month in a way of just dollar cost averaging into metals, regardless of the price. And so the RTD Silver Team, the goal is to reach 1,000 households. And one of the benefits of this program here is that those who join this program here, they also help a charitable foundation feed homeless and distressed families throughout the world. So it's a win-win for everybody. You get your stack up and you help support a good cause and feeding people. So if you're interested, go to rtd.com or rethinkingthedollar.com/silver.hyphen, and you guys can plug in there and get all the information you need. But once again, great opportunity here, and it's something that I'm enjoying learning more about. So as you can see here, just a little bit of a stack I got in my first batch. And so just something worthwhile for those who are interested. So check it out if you guys want. All right, let's get into it, man. Always a good day when you wake up and the blessing is working on your behalf. Can I get an amen in the chat? Let me, as I take a minute here, I got to do some things on back end here that I forgot to do. And so bear with me one second. I forgot to put something in the description. Give me 1 second here. On the back end, always scrambling. And so I have to make sure I stay up to snuff with stuff. But yeah, it's going to be a good morning because we got some good things worth talking about here. And let me refresh my page here. And then we're going to make this work this morning. We're going to make it work as we always do. All right, give me a second here. This is what happens when you wait last minute to try to put everything together. You always find yourself scrambling. Okay, let's make it work. Let's get into some market activity real quick, and then we'll jump into the primary story of the morning and a couple other headlines that caught my attention. Let me close some windows now. Okay. Yeah, buddy, this is what you call a live show when everything is on the fly, and then you have technical issues where your screen don't want to work. But I'm going to do the best I can. All right, so let's look at the market activity. I want to check out silver. What's happening in the silver world right now? And once again, if I can get myself together here. Bear with me, people. It only gets better. There we go. That's better. Okay, so real quick, let's look at the numbers, man. Look at the numbers, what's happening. So right now we have gold, 23.25. We got silver at 29.40. We got platinum at $969-ish. We got palladium at $870 with the asking price of $910. And so interesting morning, to say the least. And one thing that caught my attention is the crypto market is experiencing somewhat of a pullback. But then again, I just finished a video talking about how, for those who are interested in this space, be of good cheer. The liquidity is coming. So you'll find out more about that when I release that video there. But the government got a backup plan. So as of right now, we got Bitcoin is at, at 64.87. And then we have Ethereum at 34. And if I can move my screen here, we can get more of these figures here. And so once again, I believe that this upcoming cycle will be something of historic proportions. And so for those who speculate, having a position of either side, small or big, will definitely pay off big time. Okay, but overall, we got Ethereum at 3,400, and everything else is falling in place as well. A lot of red on the screen here, but it is to be expected. And then let's look at the financial space as of right now. Let me refresh this screen here so we can see what's happening in an S&P 500 according to the different sectors. And so as of now, when this page refreshes here, we'll see what's going on here. And so looks like there's a little mixed reaction here. And so diversified financials is down. We have banks are in the green. Insurance is in the green. And so if I move myself out the way here, we can get more of a look directly at what's going on here. So this is the S&P 500 this morning. And so about half and half. And of course, I'm keeping an eye on the banking sector because that is where the greatest transition is taking place. And so insurance is up. So not too surprising this morning. But the main story of the morning happens to be right here. It says people are delaying buying new cars, which is creating a deflationary spiral that's bad news for the auto industry. And so, as I mentioned, to lead this off today, being in the middle of the city, the car industry, I've talked about this for a long time now. And, depending on where you're at, there's factories and there's carports all throughout the city, the metropolitan area, as well as the suburban area, and all the tier 1, tier 2 suppliers. The economy moves upon logistics, and logistics meaning every household having 1, 2, 3 cars. Things are changing right now. And to me, this is a primary and another leading indicator into the true nature of the economy and the fact that we have already been in a recession for quite some time now. But when it's starting to hit Main Street to where people are, aware of it, and they're making pivots in how they spend their funds and their priorities. Priorities are shifting right now because people are no longer racing to get a car every year, every 2 years or so. And then when you have used cars that are not even selling, that's even more of an indicator of how bad things are. So what I want to do is actually, before I get to this, what led me to go this direction was a video that I saw that really highlights some of the issues here that the car manufacturing sector is experiencing. And if I can, let me grab the video real quick so you guys can see what I see and what really. So this is a content creator. I don't know him, but someone of my family shared this. And I'm like, well, okay, people who don't typically follow this subject matter the way that I do, they're starting to share information about this. So check out this little video here. But this is the used car market from a used car auction. Check this out.
2021 Challenger Scat Pack started at 34th floor, went all the way down to 27. No sale. That's crazy. I'm telling y'all don't believe me. People ain't buying these cars. Dealers are smartening it up. They know these margins are getting thin. Look at all these chickens. So in my videos, when you see the current bids start high and go low, it's because nobody's bidding on the vehicle. So they went down to 32, 31, 30, 29, 27, 25. So they're trying to get some people to bid on it. So you can see the 2012 Chevy Cruze sold for whatever that was. 2021 Ram Tradesman floors at 22. Nobody's bidding. 2018 Challenger SXT, we got 17 grand. And as you can see, the white ones over here, nobody's bidding. So cars are dropping like hotcakes. So when the number turns green, that means people are on the floor. There's online bidders. If it's white, that means that the floor is consistently dropping because nobody's bidding, and the dealers or whoever's selling the car is trying to get people to bid on their cars that are at the auction. Yeah, these next couple months are going to be interesting. Telling you, people are running out of money. Americans are eating into their savings. So let's see how creative we can get to make some money.
So there you have, the analysis from someone who's actually in an auction, and they're reversing the order in which they sell the cars by starting with a set price and going down. And so once again, he's even saying people are running out of money. Discretionary spending is not what it used to be. And so this is another sign of what is happening now. And as of right now, there's a lot of issues behind the scenes. But then again, everything we're experiencing is strategic in nature because it starts from the very top and it's working its way all the way down. It's starting with the Federal Reserve and the Treasury collaborating on the restructuring of our monetary system based upon what they want to roll out. And we know what that is. But also things are just getting tight because of the lack of liquidity or readily available dollars because of the high interest rate environment we're in now. So let me get into this article a little bit here, and then we'll play along with it and go from there. But people are delaying buying new cars, creating a deflationary spiral. Deflationary spiral. And so literally people are waiting for the spigot to come back on, i.e. lower interest rates so that people can start borrowing again. But it says here, it's finally getting easier to buy a new car, but shoppers are still hesitant. High interest rates remain a big deterrent for many car shoppers, and price volatility has some car shoppers delaying the purchases in hopes that they can get an even better deal. So just like the housing market, depending on, I follow a lot of people in the housing sector. And so I'm hearing more and more about people holding off on buying housing because of interest rates being so high and price in certain areas already extremely high. And so everybody's waiting on a sale. And so if everybody continues to adopt that mindset of let me hold off some, that equals the economy literally stalling or coming to a halt, to where it only speeds up the intensity of this deflationary, recessionary environment we're in now. So if it's happening in the housing sector, it's starting to happen in the housing market. Eventually it's going to happen on the retail side. Of course, I'm hearing about Walmart also talking about people aren't spending as much. So once again, I'm not trying to cause doom and gloom, but just sharing with you the real state of the economy outside of what you won't get from the mainstream media. And so here, give you some more figures here, then I'll keep it moving. It says here, the average price paid for a car, estimated to be $48,000 in May, is down from its peak at the end of 2022, thanks to a return to normality in auto production. Both interest rates still averaging 6.7. My screen is moving here, and 11.9% according to Experian. Many shoppers are still choosing to put off their purchases. It says the phenomenon occurs when consumers push out their purchasing, reducing demand and causing supply to pile up and putting pressure on prices. As prices continue to fall, it creates a vicious cycle that only encourages shoppers to continue putting off their purchases in hopes of a better price down the road. And so what we're witnessing now is the beginning phases of what will probably be a long, drawn-out, multi-year spiral of events in every sector that we in this country have enjoyed the opportunity to have more than enough of, and anytime we wanted it, i.e. the luxuries and all the things that have been presented us due to the fact that we've held the reserve currency for the longest. And as all that's changing right now, there's going to be an influx of more dollars making their way back home, bidding up prices on things, further exacerbating these problems here, because the average person will not be able to afford things on top of all the financial crunch and pinches that people are having. And then it's going to be some choices that people will need to make. Do they buy goods that don't really provide value to their life immediately, or do they just focus on the bare minimum goods and services that sustain their lives, like keeping the lights on, food in the fridge, and some probably choosing not to go buy iPhones every single year and things like that. So these are the things that the economy is facing, man, and just more signs of the economy rolling over in real time. So this is one of the things I wanted to talk about, just because I think it's very important to keep our eye on the pulse of the economy. And in the midst of all this, as I always encourage people, remind people, do the best you can to look for opportunities amongst all this mess. Continue to add streams of income to yourself so that you can be somewhat protected and cushioned from this. And then also, because we know this is a monetary phenomenon which will impact everybody's financial life at some point, diversifying yourself out of the same weapon or tool that's used as a weapon, which is the currency. And that's why I always harp on the idea of getting your weight up, and as well as speculating for those who see opportunity there as well, which come with their risk associated with it. But it doesn't stop there, because not only are people not buying cars, but then we have another article here that's just real indicative of how the younger generation, in particular Gen Z, or the Zoomers as they're called, let me get my screen here, are putting more pressure on the auto industry because they're not even driving anymore. So here's another article caught my attention. It says here, Gen Z teens largely put the brakes on driving, signaling a seismic shift in the U.S. car culture. And so not only are cars no longer as affordable, or most people don't have the discretionary spending to go out and buy cars or even use cars, as we mentioned a moment ago, but you have the younger generation, those that are 20 and below, who are literally opting out of driving for a variety of reasons. But one of the reasons, according to the article here, is the technological advancements of kids being able to just order a Uber or a Lyft, which makes them like, well, what's the point of having a car with all the costs, expenditures, the gas prices, where I can just use one of these services, which creates opportunity for those who are drivers. They get to earn some money. But then again, it's the shift of how the younger generation will probably be more willing to usher in those smart cities where You don't have to own a car. You can just live within a small community, and you can either commute by bike, or there'll be the car, the share ride communities that Elon Musk is looking to build out, where you can actually just pay for a service rather than owning a car. So these events here are reshaping the future, where it used to be a privilege to own a home and drive a car. But now, as those two things become somewhat unobtainable for Generation Z, they're opting out of it. So between smart cities, small homes, tiny homes, no cars, the future's already been shaped. And the older generation, we were very blessed and privileged to have experienced what was considered at some point the American dream. But now, what the younger generation are experiencing is not really a dream at all. It's more so a reshifting of their paradigm, to where they're being conditioned to appreciate and to enjoy not owning anything, because it frees them of what is labeled as the burden of responsibility. But then again, they don't own nothing, and they're learning to be happy with that. So I'm going on a little bit of a rant right now, but when you put all these pieces together, the monetary shift taking place puts economic strain on economies, which then impacts personal finances, which then causes people to make shifts in how they view life in general, which leads to people such as Gen Z opting out of owning things and literally being satisfied with just merely using things that they don't own, and they're happy with that. So World Economic Forum's agenda to you own nothing to be happy with it seems to be working quite well based upon economic conditions. So I'll spare you guys on that article there, because this morning I'm everywhere with it. But some other things that caught my attention. I'm just going to flip through a couple of charts here, just to highlight more of the case that I was trying to show. And so if I can get my screen here, here's some more charts, just painting more pressure, putting more pressure, or more signs rather, of the economic conditions we're experiencing as a nation. I won't say as a whole, I'll just say as a nation. And so I'll get rid of this one. So this is a chart from Game of Trades, do a good job of putting charts together. And this plays into the idea that jobs are at risk majorly, big time, especially when it comes to the auto manufacturing. So people are not buying cars, therefore cars are piling up, therefore eventually auto manufacturers will begin laying off even more than they already have. But then again, this plays in directly with what we're seeing on this graph here, because job openings are declining rapidly. And so those type of events only occur when you see this big gray bar indicating recessions are in play. And so we got 2000, we got 2008, we got that short blip in 2020. And then here we are now from the peak at about 2022. This came after the stimulus check, PPP surge, and now it's rolled over completely. And the question is, how low can this graph go? And that right there is a whole shift in and of itself, but just something that I pay attention to, because this is the future that they're shaping. And then last thing here, just some of the companies that are really causing hiccups in the tech sectors as well as banking. So here we can see leading companies that announced layoffs in 2024. And so these numbers have grown since we've last checked in on this chart. So Citi is 20,000, UPS 12,000, Sam's Club 11,000. We have Tesla 11,000, Bell Media 4,800, Siemens Energy, and it goes right on down the list. So in June, so far, number of employees laid off for Zachary Holding is 4,000. Microsoft laid off 1,500 this month. Hino Motors 1,300. What else we got? Ola Electric 500. Telstra 2,800. So these are all layoffs within the last couple of weeks, if not week. So yeah, the shift is occurring, people, in real time. And then on another note here, let's get into some precious metal. This is a chart that caught my attention. And so as a result of me wanting to, start this RTD Silver Team, the best way, in my opinion, for the average Joe and Jane to take advantage of the manipulation with the markets, as well as use whatever discretionary spending they have to hedge against the inflationary pressures that's underway, and to prepare themselves for what will be a very a loose monetary policy coming after the system breaks as a result of this deflationary spiral, and then the reinflating or the recreating of asset bubbles like the world's never seen, the beneficiary will ultimately flow back into gold and silver. And silver, being the most undervalued of all the metals, will be the biggest beneficiary of all these trillions. I'm projecting 10 plus trillion easily will be created within the next 12 to 24 months. And there's no way, in my opinion, but then again, I never say never, that they can continue to keep the price of silver from actually breaking, because silver itself is the last mechanism to keep this illusion of monetary order at work. And so I say all that. Here's an interesting article or a picture that caught my attention here, just talking about the discrepancy and differences between East and West viewing of gold and silver, the silver in particular. It says here, this is from Hugo. I don't know who this gentleman is, but this graph caught my attention just because it shows the Shanghai versus the LBMA. So it says silver premiums remain resilient on the Shanghai Gold Exchange, closing at $4 above the LBMA benchmark, or 13.8% based on preliminary data. So here we see the difference in the fiat price of a ounce of silver. And so Shanghai is leading the way, as it says here, about $4 more. So as of now, we're at $29.45 or something like that. And so over there, $33. So this gap in between the Eastern price and the Western price is a way that a lot of banks and holders of metals and the ETFs and whatnot, how they're literally making profit off of the arbitrage difference. So this is something that's happening. But at some point, when the Shanghai Silver Exchange takes off to 40 and beyond, the question will be, how can the LBMA continue to keep it well beneath that $30 mark, nevertheless 35 and then 40, because more people will find out about how manipulated this is, and they will definitely race to it. So just something to bring to your attention. And then on a last note here, just more information on how fake and artificial the current equities rally is when it's being propped up by 5 stocks. It says here 5 stocks for 60%. Think about that, 60%. Now, there's no way that these 5 stocks, which make up 60% of the S&P's yield to date return, can actually continue to support the markets the way they are without continuous stimulus. So stimulus or liquidity will be needed heavily in the days ahead. And so just seeing the mega cap techs, we have Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Google, and Meta are literally holding up this illusionary economy that 99.9% of investors, workers are automated to have their funds deducted and put into some type of mutual fund that's being propped up by just 5 companies. And so when something breaks, think about the amount of wealth that will be transferred out of the hands of those who actually bought into the narrative of buying and holding for 20, 30 years in an environment where the economies are manipulated like this. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of pain, people, a lot of pain. So ultimately, it boils down to how much pain are you willing to experience? People who have majority of their financial futures dependent upon current markets based upon the illusions that are put before us will experience the most pain. That's just my opinion. Once again, can't give financial advice, but if everything is propped up artificially, at some point they're going to pull the plug or lose control of it. And just think about the generational wealth that will be lost. And I was actually, doing an article, going to do a video on the baby boomers that has the bulk of all the wealth, whether it be in their real estate or in their portfolios, and the amount of losses they're going to take. And I was trying to understand how the wealth transfer from baby boomers to the millennials is set to take place, and the issues it's causing, because the millennials, outside of those who are probably in better financial condition, a good chunk of them don't have any type of financial footing or financial or monetary literacy. So they're literally going to receive the inheritance from their parents, and they're going to end up spending it or blowing it, because on average, most people who never work for anything don't know how to appreciate what they either inherit or what they come up on whether by blessing, luck, or whatever people may want to call it. And so literally that wealth is going to be transferred. So the generations of having people who know how to work hard for something and protect what they've worked for is fading. And as I mentioned earlier, when Gen Z don't want to own nothing because of the responsibility of having to upkeep it, take care of it, society's changing, man. The world's changing. And it's just challenging to see it unfold in real time. But that's just my 2 cents on things. Okay, well, with that being the case, people, that's all I wanted to check in, share with you what's happening from the mainstream perspective or from the alternative perspective about the mainstream lies that they're feeding us. And it's just going to be interesting, man. This week is going to be an interesting week, to say the least, and every day from this point on, man. But once again, it's good to take all this information, process it, filter it, see where you fit in all this, and typically formulate a strategy that allows you to do the opposite of what the majority are doing. And the reason the country is in the way that the reason the country is in the condition that it's in is because those who have not taken the time to learn and study for themselves to make decisions outside of the mainstream narrative that they're fed. And that's how, the currency is what it is. And the political realm is what it is. People think that either party is going to be something beneficial for them. No candidate in office can stop what's already unfolding. They can't, just because it's all debt-based. So only thing they can do is expand the monetary base even more, causing more inflation. So anyway, but that's what's happening, man. Rolf says Wall Street bankers will kill off Gen Z. They don't even have to do that, Rolf. The monetary, financial, economic pressures that everybody's experienced will automatically lead to Gen Z opting out of everything that has to do with any type of sound financial monetary practices. So it says send your kids to school and see what you get. Rolf, the draft situation is real. I've shared a lot of articles on that. And so they're not going through all this effort to have a draft unless they plan on using it. It says USA selective draft for 18 to 26-year-olds will be sent to Russian or Chinese fronts in World War III. That's always a possibility. I just think for some reason, all previous world wars were fought on foreign lands. I could see somehow, some way, the world war being fought here on American soil. I don't know how that'll work, how that'll play out, but whether it's a actual world war in this country or a civil war in this country between those born here and those who have come here in the last 2-3 years, it's going to be some conflict. So that's just a part of the plan, man. Just a part of the plan. But anyway, D-Nice says, might do you invest in silver through the stock market? I do not invest in silver through the stock market directly, but I do speculate with some miners and some exploration companies as a way of trying to take advantage of the price mechanisms that are at play. What else we got here? All right, so that's all I see thoughts-wise. But anyway, people, be blessed, be safe, enjoy the rest of your day. If you found any value here, hit that thumbs up button. And if you are brave and courageous enough, take this, share this through your social so more people can find out what's going on. And also, for those who are interested, I encourage you, take advantage of opportunity while you can. And I want to encourage you to try to join the RTD Silver Team and partner with me to try to reach over 1,000 households of automating silver accumulation so people can actually hedge against the chaos that's coming, because literally it's going to get interesting, people. But you already know that. So be blessed.